Hopefully we don't break anything. All right. We're unmuted. They can see us. Here we are. Welcome, everybody. Sorry, guys. Had a little rough one here.
Bro, first Predcast of the year, son.
Right?
And Joey's back.
Oh.
Bro, the real question is, where the hell's F6 right now?
That's the real question.
Is the real question.
He saw Kwang Skysplit build and he just have no words for me.
He dipped.
He dipped. He's scared.
No. But what's up, guys? What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Predcast. For those of you that don't know, it's essentially a little podcast that we do here. We go over the recent news, recent updates. We go over the state of the game in general. Just kind of keep everybody informed while we also throw in our, little 2 cents here and there. Every once in a while, we do have every once in a while, we do have somebody from the Ometa Studios team on the Predcast, and today is actually one of those very days. Original Predcast member coming back. Joey's here, but let's do this. Let's get our intros out of the way. Joey, you go ahead and start it, then Pinzo, then Bearded, then myself. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so hey everyone, this is JoeYoursTruly, finally back on the podcast after leaving the show, because obviously this is the community when podcast, it doesn't make sense to have a deadbeat normal co-host, so I kind of stepped down and did my whole little split with Ometa. But after a couple of months of working, I kind of got my feet cemented pretty good, so need to say I'm really happy where I'm at, and I'm really glad to be here on the show talking with you all.
Happy to have you back, man. So, right?
It feels good to have Joey back.
Right, bro? It's different, bro. It's different. And I'm still super proud of you, bro. Like, the fact that you moved up into Ometa, you've been rocking that shit. Shout out to you, bro. That's awesome.
You.
As for me, I'm Pinzo. I'm a content creator. I make Pred content. I stream on Twitch Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern, and I upload YouTube videos every day. And then outside of that, I just kind of hang out. I'm just kind of vibing, I'm playing Kwang, hanging out, waiting for I don't know, ranked, I guess. Something amazing, I guess.
One quick correction, though. It's Kwang, not Kwang. Please get it right.
Oh no.
Okay, you know me. I'm okay for Kwang. I won't budge. If someone's saying something wrong, I would correct it. Even.
No, you mean something rang?
Please no.
Hey, I'm just saying, for my boy Mangoose, it's Kwang. All right.
With you, bro.
So,
hey, man. I just know if I go outside right now in Florida, because me and Joey are both from Florida, and just tell people, hey, how do you pronounce this? They're 1,000% going to be like, Kwang? 1,000%.
They're not cultured enough.
I'm done, bro. Like I said, hey, man, you're not cultured. Go ahead,
man. I'm from Montana, okay? It looks like Kwang. I'm calling it Kwang.
If it looks like Kwang. Iceman says K-Wang.
He said the phone either rang or wrong.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Yeah.
All right, what's going on, everybody? It is I, the beautiful Marine, the national champion Michigan Wonder. Excited to be here. For those of you who don't know, Michigan won the national champion this year. So, national championship this year. So, very excited about that. Quick update about myself, though. I have not been able to play the game. I got a couple of matches in yesterday, but I've not been able to play the game for almost a whole week now. My son, actually, most recently on Tuesday night at 11 p.m., got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. So real quick, like PSA announcement to anybody. For those of you who don't know anything about type 1 diabetes, and a quick onset, like for you to see that it's happening, is for you to see somebody. It doesn't have to be in kids, but it does happen in kids often. Is you see them, they're drinking quite heavily. Like my son was drinking water nonstop, and then with that, he's also using the restroom all the time, and he keeps on drinking, keep on using the restroom. So my daughter is already a type 1 diabetic, so we kind of already knew what we were seeing. So my wife tested his blood sugar, saw that he had high blood sugar, so we went in, and now he's diagnosed that. So now I got 2 kids, both my kids, I only have 2 kids, are both type 1 diabetics. So everything's going all right. We're in a better spot now, but I had to take a time back away from streaming and content creation and all that stuff to kind of help the family get into a better situation mentally and get things rolling that way. But yeah, just kind of make sure you guys are paying attention to other people. Like, again, if you notice somebody that's been drinking a lot more than what they normally would drink, maybe ask some questions and try to get things figured out. With my daughter, when we found out with her, it was already too late because we'd had no clue what the signs were. It was too late. So when we went in and got it checked, she was in a thing called DKA, which is like a ketoacidosis thing. Like, it's literally a bad thing for people who are diabetics. With my son, we caught it so early, he actually never went into DKA, so there was no hospital stay. My daughter was in the hospital for over a week with her situation. So my son was no hospital stay. It was more like get in, get out, get insulin prescribed and all that stuff. So just a little thing, it can be very dangerous, but it also is very, what's the word? You can work with it. You can live with it and work with it and go with that. It's not curable, but it's definitely something you can adjust to. But on that note, though, I am back to streaming. Manageable. Thank you, Extort. Exactly. I am back to streaming, though, so we will get back to it. I'll be gaming tomorrow and stuff like that, and we'll go from there. There might be days I might take off abnormally. My normal streaming is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but there might be days I just might miss, and just understand it's probably something to do with helping the wife or the kids out with something they got going on. But other than that, I'm excited to bring the Predcast back. I've been waiting for this, and I can't wait to talk to Joey and pick his brain about Kwang and go from there. Windu?
Spicy. And what's up, guys? I'm Windu, also known as Windu the Mace, and basically just do Pred content. And as of late, I actually haven't even been streaming much. I've just been focusing with this whole PCC that just happened this past weekend. Like, it was such a fun weekend, bro. It was so much fun. Like, the PCC is doing great things. Shout out to these two individuals here, Joey and Pinzo, being subs of the same team.
The best two subs in the tourney. No biggie.
Bro, right? Stacked sub team for no reason. But overall, it was super fun watching the broadcast, engaging with the community and everything. What I will say, now that the PCC is kind of like slowing down for another 2 weeks until the main event, I already this week, I'm like, well, shit, what's happening next with Predecessor? Like, what's going on? Like, I was so distracted with the PCC that I was like, all right, Predecessor, we need some news. Let's go. And then they finally dropped Kwang, and I'm like, let's go. Something to talk about. But just here to talk about Predecessor. And all in all, I actually, before we get too deep into the Predecessor side, I actually want to talk a little bit about Joey, bro. What's that dev's life been like? I know you kind of dabbled on it a little bit. What's that been like?
Oh, that's actually a very open question.
Yeah, bro.
Can you give me something to lead into first, and then I'll go from there?
Yeah. So how would you compare let's just say your first day there, trying to get used to everybody, trying to talk to everybody? It's like how it is now, the environment and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, that I would say that overall, I think, like I said a little bit earlier, I got a lot more settled in because there's a lot of stuff that comes with the QA position that may surprise some of you guys, because I think the QA that you guys know about online, like the kind of common knowledge about it, is quite different, man. Which I can't say specifically what's different, but I can say there's a lot more depth No, but there's a lot more in-depth stuff that comes with the kind of position, right? So there's a lot of room for growth I need to still do as a junior QA, but also beyond that, there's a lot of stuff I can tackle on and improve and build my skill set over time. But it's always really awesome to work with the team. As always, that's one of the main reasons why I was drawn to working at Meta, not only just working on a game that I love most, but also the people there are just absolutely amazing. They're some of the most fun, the most kind people I ever worked with in the job industry, which, I mean, I'm pretty young. Maybe that's a little bit too soon to say that, but I just love working and talking with everyone at Meta Studios.
Nice. Now, if you weren't recorded, what would you say?
If I was
He's off the record.
off the record.
Well, mute the stream.
I kid. No, I'm happy for you, and I love seeing seeing how quickly you adapted to it, in the sense of like what I'm saying is like, obviously I don't know what you're doing, I don't see on the inside, but what I can see is like in our creator Discord, if any of the creators come in there and say, hey, we got this bug here or this going on here, like you're one of the first ones to quickly Roger up to it and say, hey, thank you for this, and either try to get more information from that person that posted it, or let them know that you guys are working on it. It's I'd love to see that interaction, and you jumped right in. It was great to see.
Thank you. That's good to hear.
So
I could thought I was gonna say the hardest part about Joey's life right now, swear to God, the fact that he's got to build video a month in advance now. He's like, yo, I'm ready for the next update. Wait for it, but I gotta build video scheduled, son.
I think that's a benefit, though. I think that's a benefit. He's already got like stuff like ahead. It's like, all right, I'm ready to go. Just go live with the build. We got this.
Yeah, no, so I guess let me just clarify a little bit that a lot of what I do in QA, I'm not actually testing meta stuff. I'm testing if it actually works as intended. So a lot of the stuff, like for example, the live stream I just did today, that's the first time I actually got to cook with a lot of different Kwang builds. I have no idea if it actually works or not. So I do that as a good opportunity to have fun with my viewers, but also test some stuff out, right? Because that's more like, that's game design. Like game design is the one that deals with like just meta stuff and just any industry. QA just worry about, hey, does this theme work? Is this hero broken, et cetera, right? So I don't actually get to like play around with stuff in terms of like meta stuff. I just focus on making sure there's nothing that breaks on release.
Okay. Now, how much time do you actually get to just game yourself without the actual? Not, hey, I'm just gonna like sit. I'm gonna load up the game and not worry about QA at this time. Like, do you get a lot of that time, or is that pretty much what you do, and that's how you go with that situation?
So QA meta, it's a full-time job, so it's not like I'm working just whenever I want. I'm just like the 8-9 hours I'm working the whole time, if that's what you meant by that.
Right, yeah, but it's like, but after 8-9 hours, like, have you done enough? Have you done so much? Like, you know what? Like, I just did 8-9 hours on Predecessor. I really don't want. Like, I'm just gonna like literally take some time away. I'm gonna go. Well, obviously, we know your love of your dogs are obviously higher than Predecessor. So once you're done with your 8-9 hours, you were going to play with the dogs for a little bit. But do you come back and like, all right, now I just want to get some games in myself. I just want to be Joey, yours truly, and do what I want to do. Do you get in that time, or you just been QAing the whole time?
Oh yeah, so yeah, no, of course. So like after I finish my work shift for the day, I still go on Pred on live and play some games, record some like content. So I'm definitely like, when I think about it, I actually the whole Predecessor, both job and content creation, is really just an integral part of my life at this point. I think literally most of my time is just spent on just Predecessor. But I mean, I love it. Like I separate the fun and content creation and just playing the game versus just the working on the game. Like I know some people, like it's hard for them to enjoy the job and still enjoy afterwards. Like content creation sometimes it can be hard to, if you're doing full-time content creation, it can be hard to actually enjoy the game you're playing because you kind of start to treat it as more like work, quote unquote, which I think I have that mindset for like meta. Like I treat it as like a job. I take it seriously, but I separate that from like the fun aspect, which I get that in my like live games and all that stuff. If that makes sense. Like I have to have fun and would enjoy my time on Predecessor off the clock.
Okay. Now, here's my next question. Before you became part of the QA team, I know you were internal tester and stuff like that, but you were just mainly your content creation side of it. Now that you've taken this job position, do you look at the game differently now when you play? When you're not QAing, you're just like playing. Do you see the game differently?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like like a good example is whenever I play the game, like Pinso can test this because sometimes I hang out in his voice chat. Like I'll like be sharing playing some Predecessor and then be like, hey, sorry guys, let me close my game because I gotta go grab some info for this bug I just saw in the game, right? So like even off the clock, my QA mind is still in the back of my head. And it's like, that's a bug. Let me see if that's
I just watch. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Yell at Joey when stuff goes wrong in my game.
Right, Joey.
I'm like, did you see that? What was that? And he's like, bro, you missed 9 abilities in a row. What do you want me to do? And I'm like, it's a bug.
But yeah, I do see the game quite different. Just having that other perspective in mind.
Okay. Now, by seeing it differently, all right, how do I ask this question without, I don't want you to like to feel like it's a negative thing, but like, do you still see it in the glowing aura predecessor that you fell in love with, or is there like a little bit like because you're seeing these bugs, do you kind of see a little more of like a tinge to it? You know, if that makes any sense?
Did you just low-key ask him if he's still a white knight?
Okay, so,
Is that what I just heard?
okay. No, I don't. So I have a broader perspective, obviously, on the whole Predecessor, but I wouldn't say like I have a negative viewpoint. It's just, how do I say it? It's like, it's one of the things that once you're in the game industry, you understand more stuff behind the scenes.
Okay.
So that doesn't, it can mean good or bad, right? I can't say which, but I guess you can say like, how do I say? I guess I'm very excited to see the future of Predecessor. Like, we got a lot of stuff cooking in the background. Like, obviously we got the December report where there's a lot of stuff teased, like the casual game mode, the ring, to talk about a little bit how they want to change the item system. Like, there's some really exciting stuff. We're kind of
Can you go into some specifics?
No, that I can't go into specifics.
Can you expand upon any of those?
No, I can't expand upon that. That's one thing I cannot do. I apologize. So
that's
like,
the only thing you can't do.
That's the only thing.
I'm just taking notes for later in this stream.
Hey, I'm pretty good at keeping cards at my chest. If you want to get some more specific details, go DM like RGSA. He's the one that has all the like, he has a safe vault of all the leaks. He goes in and grabs the one he's going to give out next. Like, go ask him.
I have a DM from Ace right here. It says, "Tell Joey he can spill whatever he wants."
I need to see a screenshot of that.
Give me a second. I need to. It's gonna take me a second to get this screenshot like rendered. You know,
rendered. His snippet tool is it's in it's not bugged. It's not in 4K. He's got a. So, all right. Well. I mean, any more questions for Joey, or you want to jump right into his one of his favorite heroes to play with?
Bro, I can sit here and talk to Joey all day, bro.
We can, definitely. Yeah.
I definitely want to talk about Kwang, whatever. I definitely want to talk about the purple guy.
The purple guy.
Hey, purple guy right here.
Yeah, right?
Yo, can I just say, in game, I love the way that Kwang looks. Am I the only one there? Like, as far as like how the textures look with the lighting and everything?
No,
in game, he looks amazing. On the main menu, his entire cape clips through his entire body.
Oh yeah, his face does look a little rubbery.
In game, he looks his animations are really good, and he looks really clean, and yeah, he is very good in game.
Okay, I've only played against him. Like I said, I got to play a couple matches last night, so I don't have enough to unlock him yet. So I haven't actually been able to play as him, but I played against him a few times last night. And what I can say, playing against him, I didn't feel like he was overpowering, but I also felt like he could he made his presence felt. You knew he was there. And like, all right, I gotta pay attention to this Kwang guy, however you want to say it, Kwang. But no, looks wise, I mean, in the game, I felt he looked from the opposing or my teammate version looked pretty good from what I could tell.
The only good Kwang I've gone up against is literally Joey. Every other Kwang in the enemy team has just been throwing their life away, bro. It's just been horrible until Joey shows up and just fucking claps my team, and I'm like, okay, great.
Is he all right? Let's ask this question right here with everybody, the community listening, because I know we kind of talked about it a little bit, but when we were still working through our technical differences, is he an offlaner, or is he a jungler, or is he a viable in both positions?
Yeah, I'll say both. I mean, like, you look at like Grux, he's viable both. You look at Quench, viable both. Feynman, viable both. Sevrock, Victor, viable both. You have a lot, like, there's a lot
of crossover there.
Yeah, there's a lot of crossover.
Bruisers are good at both. Melee bruisers are good at both.
Yeah, because obviously, like, because of how boosters are as heroes, they have the kind of stats or kits most of the time to work in both the jungle and offlane. Now, you have someone like Chimera, his path is strictly jungle, so he's shoehorned into that role, right? But I would say that there's a lot of crossover, maybe part of it's due to the fact that we still have a limited roster compared to like the 100+ heroes you see in Smite League of Legends. But at the same time, like it's good to have heroes that can go more than one role, because that makes the hero more interesting to see how they perform in other roles, what other kind of builds you're gonna go for, etc., right?
Okay.
But obviously, for me, I think he's best in the off lane, but I am biased. I will admit that. So
it's true.
See arguments for both.
Now,
I think he's better in the off lane than the jungle.
Pinzo said that a bruiser, melee bruiser is good at both. Would I not clarify that? Would that not be true that Chimera is a melee bruiser?
Oh no, that's what I mean. It's the Chimera is a melee bruiser, so I say most melee bruisers can work in both, unless like you have a Chimera passive that only works in the jungle. Like Rampage, like same.
But it's not just his passive. Even his what is it? His RMB, the leap or whatever. You can't leap on the lane minions. So that kind of like your ability is like you kind of like limit yourself with some of your abilities. That's I don't. To me, Chimera would not
run him solo.
Yeah,
just like you can run Rampage solo.
Right, but I mean, you could
the best.
Yeah.
You can
I mean,
you can run anybody as an ADC too if you're Joey. Like, but that doesn't mean that it's viable. That's what I'm asking. For the community, is it viable? That's what I'm asking.
2 off lane matchups that you can play him into and be just fine.
Yeah. I was gonna say that's the beauty of off meta stuff. It's the reason called off meta, because by normal means maybe he's not a great pick, but in those like 1 or 2 few matchups, they just completely stomp the role when they shouldn't normally be. So Chimera offlane in those like few matchups, he's actually just a medicine offlane.
Okay. All right. What is your least favorite thing about Kwang? Any of you three can answer. I can't because I haven't played him yet. So any of you three can answer.
I can go first unless someone else wants to speak.
Go ahead.
I don't want to go first.
Okay. So I guess so for me personally, I think the hardest thing that was for me trying to get into Kwang for Predecessor versus Paragon is the fact that his kit is less of a bruiser compared to his Paragon OG counterpart. Like I'm assuming most of you guys are aware of what his kit was like back in Paragon, right?
I remember he had lifesteal in it.
Talking about the design of the kit, or are you talking about just overall like scaling and shit like that?
Well, I guess design, but how the character feels, because like in Paragon, OG Paragon Kwang, he has Army Vamp on his passive.
Yep.
And every time he uses RB, he gets armor, and so that makes him feel naturally as a bruiser. While still having that burst damage capabilities. Now, obviously, the Kwang we have in Predecessor doesn't have Army Vamp or Lifesteal on his base kit. He doesn't have any actual armor gain, only a shield on his RMB. So in comparison, his kit feels less of a bruiser. And that's what kind of threw me off for the longest time, is that like the playstyle for Kwang is a bit different than the one in Paragon, which I really love the new playstyle for Kwang, but when I first initially play him, I try to play him like a bruiser, which he doesn't do nearly as good in like Paragon, obviously, because he can actually be quite squishy if you don't build him the right items or do him to the right playstyle. So like, but that's why. But I do like overall though they took away some of that, because that was just that's another balance consideration. You have a character that always does a lot of damage on burst in his combos. He has CC with a knockup, a lot of like just enhanced base attacks. Now imagine he can gain additional armor health and have lifesteal. Like that kid sounds a little bit too overpowered, right? Just have too many things.
Right.
So I like, so in terms of like me as a player playing the character, it's like it makes sense why they took that away, because if you want to still build Kwang Booster, you have a plethora of items to do so, and that's what I did today with my today's video, where I show a Booster playstyle for Kwang, where you do like a Fire Blossom, Lifebinder kind of approach, and that feels like the Kwang that I know and love back in Paragon. So I think one thing that may be a little bit hard for people right now is that I think his builds, it's going to take some time for people to figure out and find the right playstyle for them.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll say I absolutely so let me just throw a pro, but I'm gonna say what I don't like, right?
I was gonna ask the pros next, but you ahead.
Oh, okay. So I'll hold on.
All right.
So as far as like one thing that I don't like about his kit, I genuinely still don't like how the tether's thrown.
Okay.
Out of everything else in the kit, like he feels very, very smooth, but I still feel like the throw, the tether, just feel like it feels too 2016 to me. Like I wish that would have been a little bit more dynamic or a little bit cooler of an animation and such. But
you don't like the fact that sorry, I was gonna say, you don't like the fact that someone is throwing a big sword out in the sky and just like yeets
immediately lands somebody.
Yeah, you don't like that kind of design. Like,
I mean, I will say so. MK1 West brought it up in the chat. The fact that you can throw the sword back and like ulting back to like the enemy inhib or some random shit like that, like you used to do before, that's not a thing anymore.
Yeah,
that part, I was like, I get it. It was cheesy as hell. Like you'll be walking around the map, you see a random Kwang sword. It's like, all right, that's a fucking bait. Not about to go there in the Paragon days, but now you're not able to do it. So I can see why not, but that was like such an identity to his kid, I think.
No,
I agree with the identity. But I remember also with Fault had that issue where the sword, it was a bug where the sword stayed, even though that wasn't the sword. So you'd be running and all of a sudden you see it, like, you're like, oh shit, is there, it's like, am I going to get a Kwang to drop on me like real quick? Like, I don't know. But
that might be why, because why complicate their lives when they could just be like, hey, when you go out of range, it disappears. Problem solved. You know? Simplicity.
I don't think that's why you can't do it.
It was a free, free but not free.
The towers on like 100-second cooldown. I mean, you can't do that.
It's a free gate scroll.
And unironically, he would instantaneously be the best solo laner in the game if he could ult back to his sword.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like as you said, it's a balance kind of implications. So
you say ult back to his sword. Well, I mean, that's just to get back to
in lane base. And ult back, he would instantly be the best solo laner in the game.
Yeah, because like
I'll level anybody.
Because you play against Greystone off lane. Like, imagine like the amount of times it's so annoying to kill the Greystone, he ults, and then you're like, well, I can't fight this anymore, right? It's just a huge stall tactic. That's why Greystone is really strong off lane, because he stalls towers, defends really well, and can just go really super aggressive because it's ultimate alone. Well, imagine you take 1v1s with Kwang, you're both low. Kwang is like, you hit his soul back at tower, back to base with full HP, teleports back, and then it's like, well, I'm kind of screwed, so that's a into action.
Could you all right? So with the way the game is now, it makes sense for him not to have that ultimate. But if Predecessor were to introduce an item like Gate Scroll, is what Fault had, and that was your item that if you bought a Gate Scroll, and then you could then just pick your tower, your closest, if whatever you're like, if it's your T1 or your T2 that's still up, whatever, you could then Gate Scroll to that tower, and that way you get back to lane. If they had that ability for every other hero to be able to do that, would that be something that you would be able to bring back with his ultimate?
I mean, I'm not game design, so that's not my.
No, I'm asking everybody in general here, just as a community playing the game, not game design side of it for you.
The map needs to be a little bit larger to be able to implement TP. You know, like maybe like future iterations of the map or something like that. And if they do bring back TP, it has to be like it has to be a crest option or one of those new actives that they bring up. Because like, hey, like you're losing something, or like let's say you lose your blink, but now you have the TP option, right?
Right.
So you're not as safe in lane because now you don't have a blink, but you have the option to use a TP every 5 minutes. So you know what I'm saying? Like they got to make sure if it ever gets implemented, some sort of trade-off.
Right.
But I don't have an issue with it as long as you don't have TP and blink and your crest active. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I gotcha. All right, Pinzo, what's your least favorite thing about Kwang?
Okay, I have one, and then I have like an honorable mention.
Okay. All right.
Because I think overall, I think his kit is pretty good. I think there are a couple weird things that happen with specifically his sword throw, like the targeting is kind of wonky, but like whatever, that'll get ironed out. The only thing I actually straight up dislike is his passive. I just think it's really boring. Like, it's just crunch passive, but worse, in my opinion. And,
what is this passive again? Sorry, remind me.
After you hit someone with an ability, your next auto does bonus damage. If that bonus damage hits an enemy hero, you reduce all your cooldowns by half a second.
Okay.
So essentially, you empower your basics by casting an ability.
Right.
Which is essentially the Oathkeeper passive on Kwang.
Yeah.
Which is why, like, Joey building Oathkeeper.
My only thing about it is, like, if you go look at the roster of Predecessor heroes and go look at how many of them have a passive that is on auto attack, do X, it's like half the roster. And
Yeah.
we just got another one. And to me, it's just a little boring, especially because it's just a straight ripoff of Crunch Passive. And that's my only issue with it. Other than that, I am very confident that Omeda is conducting like a social experiment with his ultimate. Because he now has at least that I can think of off the top of my head, the only charge up ultimate in the game that loses its cooldown before it does damage. Right, him and Morigesh, they're the only two that lose cooldown before they do damage. And I strongly believe they are doing this to decide what the community thinks about it before they try to change something like Feng Mao Ultimate. Because his ult feels terrible to get stunned out of. And I think that what they're doing is, well, you say, you know, Kwang ult feels terrible to get stunned out of. Like, that's what Feng Mao ult would feel like, you know? And it's like, yeah, kind of true. But at the same time, you know, is that they're conducting an experiment on it.
Bro, the whole time you were saying that, I'm like dead locked on Joey.
Joey looked at his other screen. Joey looked at his other screen. He's got his DMs with the devs. Like,
You don't even need to say that I'm right. Okay, listen, I know. There's no way that his ult enters the game like this, and then you don't do anything to the other ults, and it's not a social experiment. There's no way that that's like on accident.
I mean, bro, somebody might be behind the scenes, literally like, hey, it might be on purpose, but it might not be an experiment. What if somebody behind the scenes are like, nah. If it gets interrupted, it should go on cooldown. You know,
all of them should, but they don't. You know, it has to be an experiment so that they can say "I told you so" because their answer to that when you talk about like Feng Mao ult is they're like, well, it feels terrible to get stunned out of your ultimate, and like yeah, it does, but it also feels really good to stun someone out of their ultimate, right? And so that's always their argument.
It's a trade-off.
Like, see, I told you it feels terrible to get stunned out of your ultimate. I'm gonna be like, well, you kind of got me there, to be honest. I mean, I don't know what to say, but
well,
you know.
I think I'm not agreeing with you in the fact that they're running this experiment. But if they are running the experiment, it's a flawed test because the fact there's only a few heroes that have that ability to get stunned out. Like, you know, again, like you said, Mori and Kwang. 1 second, you guys go ahead and talk.
No, you're good. But no, here's my thing on it. At the end of the day, are you a person that ults while standing still, Pinzo?
It's not like you can really move during it.
Yeah, you can just jump.
Yeah. Just
Well,
jump.
yeah,
run,
you can jump Ds, bro. It's the wind up to that ultimate is like 18 seconds long. It's the easiest ult to stun out in the entire game.
I don't know, bro.
I mean, just don't get stunned and then use your ultimate. That's what you need to do.
The range on it is also terrible, by the way. I strongly believe that they need to increase the range on his right click and his ult. I think they feel not good.
Yeah, no, that's fair to say.
I in my opinion, like the right click, whatever. It's like literally melee range. Like it's shorter range than Steel RMB. I think. I don't know for positive, but I think it's shorter range than Steel RMB, and it feels the right click, whatever. You're in melee range, you hit people with it. The ultimate, with how long the windup is, I think the range on it feels way too small, in my opinion. You cannot hit someone with it unless you tether ult. Like that's the only way that people get hit by that.
No, like I said, you can jump towards them, but it's like deceptively small is I think the part that throws people off. Because I think for like the VVX it shows, it does like seems like it's a bigger AoE explosion, but it's actually smaller than what most people would think.
Well, it's like smaller than Grux ult.
Yeah, I think
I'm pretty sure it is smaller than Grux Ultimate.
Yeah, I don't know.
No.
Well, I think it's about the same AoE as Feng Mao's spin ability, right? The slow, right? Probably around that.
Probably pretty close.
Hamstring.
Just a little smaller than Grux Ult. But again, I don't know. Like to me, again, just my personal opinion, it feels too small.
Yeah.
More lightning, make a bigger AoE. Confirmed.
Right. All right. So back to what I was saying with the experiment. So the experiment, it would be a skewed situation because if you only have two heroes, then you're going to be playing as other heroes, and when you play as other heroes, that the couple heroes that get that feeling, it's going to feel bad because you don't get that feeling with the other heroes. So everybody's going to complain about it in that situation. So it's actually skewed to the way of being like, oh, see, it feels bad. And it's not a good actual test to get data from.
To be fair, like one observation you can make is that someone like Fame Out Game's been like at the start of early access for the longest time, and then like the ones that you guys are referring to that gets cooldown being applied to them while they get stunned, it's like the newer heroes, which is like the Mogish and Kwang. So maybe there's some inconsistency because some of the rules may have changed or the dark direction changed. So I mean that just sounds like something that could be more cleaned up, obviously. So it's a good feedback, 100%.
Like older heroes getting updated slowly.
Agreed.
Yeah, kind of like what they did with who was it? Was it Revenant? No, not Revenant. Somebody, I think it was when Revenant came out, other heroes started getting updated a little bit, like with cloth physics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
that
maybe
was like new. Yeah, that was like all visual, new engine kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe they could just, as the game progresses, with the feedback that you're giving, hopefully they'll go back, start adjusting, and be like, hey man, because some kits really do need a little bit of looking at in general.
Yeah. I mean, don't you guys remember one of the last podcasts that Blood Modius came on and he was talking about some of the heroes he wanted to like rework in the future? Yeah. So like it's obviously like old heroes, like some of the heroes that have been us for years, we're not neglecting them, but we're eventually gonna wrap around to them. It's just the timing and priorities is the big question, right? Because I personally like don't like Grux's kit. I know a lot of people love like Grux, but like higher Elos he feels like kind of terrible to play personally. So it's kind of like
that's why I don't climb Elo. I like Grux.
Yeah. Well, no, like Grux can help you get to a good spot, but like there's a reason why he's not as picked much in PCC for example. He's more like a counter pick most of the time. Like it's just
he's definitely a lot better now.
Yeah, like the Omnifam change in jungle was that was pretty huge, but it didn't like make him like super more viable. Just make his jungle role feel better, at least for sustain, right? So
that's for sure. All right, now what are you guys' your favorite thing about Kwang? Whoever wants to start can start.
I guess I can go since I already went first earlier. My favorite thing about Kwang, like his combos are just magnificent, I would say. Like the new like Q throw out and then dash forwards and knock people up, that's like one of the most satisfying combos in my book. Like there's just something about like lightning VX, you pick up the sword and you're eating people above the ground and just doing a lot of damage around yourself. It's just such a satisfying experience I can never get tired of when it was a clean wave, but all just going in and just like going to town on the enemy team.
Okay.
Yeah,
because
I'm gonna double down on that.
Yeah. Because I think the big thing that was missing about Kwang back in OG Paragon is like the only two ways you interact with the sword is you either do the range on B or you teleport to it. There's no like I throw the Q, I'm like, oh, I guess I'll walk up to you and start smacking you, right? Now there's a natural sentry as I'm gonna walk up to you and knock you up and start going to town on you. So it feels like the final puzzle that was missing from OG Paragon to make Kwang feel like a fully complete kit.
All right.
I think his kit feels a little bit more synergistic, like especially like me being a fighting game fan, being able to do all these random combos and shit like that. Like let's say for example, instead of tether ult, very traditional, being able to do like, okay, tether knock up into a free ult because they're already midair and then you R&B and shit like that. It honestly feels so much smoother. But to add one, just so I'm not repeating what Joey said, the way that the lightning looks like we were talking about combined with all the combos, bro, when a Kwang is going ham in lane, you'll know from fucking far away. That shit just so many fucking sparks going off everywhere and everything. Like I honestly love the way that his kit synergizes and how expressive you can be, how that skill ceiling is a little bit higher with him as opposed to like a Greystone, for example. So I dig that.
That was my biggest thing with Kwang playing in Fault. I never played him in Paragon because, again, I was an ADC man, and that's like I just stuck that mainly. But my biggest thing with him in Fault was I never could understand his kit and the combos and how to really take advantage of it and to stay in lane, because he had lifesteal in his kit a lot. He pretty much had the original kit that he had in Paragon and Fault, and I didn't understand the combos to really kind of take advantage of the lifesteal and also to be the damage dealing off laner that you would normally be. So that's something I'm still gonna have to get used to here with him in this one. But
yeah, I mean, that's probably my favorite thing about him is that he's a character whose skill ceiling isn't one step above their skill floor. Like, I feel like putting time into this character will make you much better at him, rather than, again, I know Greystone is kind of an easy example to throw out there. Like, you play like 2 games of Greystone, that's pretty much as good at Greystone as you're gonna get, right? Outside of like learning lane matchups and stuff like that. Like, that's about the skill ceiling of that character. But I feel like Kwang really does have some higher potential if you put more effort into him.
No, I'm definitely going to. I'm excited to actually try him out. I haven't had being more of that offlane main now. I guess I'm almost kind of going more to the jungle main now too. But being more of that offlane main now, I'm excited to really see how he feels, knowing that I know how to play offlane a little better than what I was playing before, when I was just kind of dabble over there. So I can't wait to get him unlocked. I just got to play the game a little more.
Yeah. Right. No, I think he's very fun. The other thing that I kind of like about it is that I don't know. I can't tell if I don't know if I like it or dislike it. Is his backpedal animation?
I saw in chat some people were saying that he's got a weird backpedal animation.
It's super wonky. The only thing I can think of when I see it is like when you have like a 3-year-old and you're like, hey, what do you have? And they start running away from you. That's what his backpedal animation looks like to me. It looks like it's like way too fast or something. It looks like it's maybe on double speed, and it's very wonky. But at the same time, it's also funny enough to where I'm like, leave it in the game. Like, that's actually pretty funny.
all I can think of is that GIF right now. The baby that comes around the corner is like, oh. And then they started waddling backward and turning around. Like that. Yes. That's all I can think of.
Very wonky, but it's also funny.
Oh man! All right, okay. I mean, like I said, I haven't played as him, so I hadn't really seen him backpedal in that situation. So I'll have to pay attention, see if I can find that find a time like that. All right, Joey, I saw you had a post of your of a kit that you enjoyed playing. That kit or that you played, was that support Kwang or was that offlane Kwang that you were running that?
The Twitter clip I made?
Yeah,
that's a support Kwang that
okay.
I was doing right there.
Okay.
And yeah, obviously that's a video I'm posting on my YouTube channel soon, but it was such a cool highlight that I wanted to like get out there sooner than later, because with Arcus, it's actually so nutty on Kwang. Because obviously you want to get people bunch up, kill them, knock them up. And so trying to find those golden opportunities can be sometimes hard in gameplay moments, but I mean, there's a reason you can just grab whipwalkers that will eat everyone right at your feet. You throw your Q at your feet, and then you start to go to tame on the one move combos. It's like when you see the Steel does his like whipwalkers pull 4 people in, and then just alt at his feet. It's like the same thing, but
okay.
For Kwang. So it's just a really satisfying tech you can use on Kwang supports.
I'm going to build it in the offlane, I think. Walker's offlane Kwang, yeah.
If you have a jungler that loves you so much, then you could have a way to stack it. I can see it.
that sounds horrible with the minions, man. Like, that would be...
I don't know, man.
Right, just go to mid and get your stacks and then come
but
back.
Don't you...
That's what I'm saying, yeah. Just walk
be like, yo,
I
got my 3 stacks. Walk over, clack, clack, clack. Bye.
Right, but
welcome for the gang. Back to solo.
But that's the stacking. But don't you, after so many minions, you get less gold?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that would be that. That's what I'm thinking would be the issue. I'm not talking about getting stacks.
Make your jungler come take waves.
Make your jungler come take.
Don't worry. If you're bad,
I made the mistake of going support crest on solo. It is not a fun time, bro.
I had
done it to like some decent actual success actually in the past, but only if I'm queued with like at least 2 other people, because I have to be able to boss people around for when my stacks are up and when I need them to take minions.
I had somebody do it again with me on comms, and they're complaining, man, I'm not getting any gold. What's going on here? I'm like, and I'm sitting there focusing. I was ADC that match. I'm like focusing on getting my minion kills. I'm like, I'm sitting there trying to like troubleshoot with them. Like, I don't know, like, what do you, what's going on? And then I backed, or I may have died or whatever. So I had time to look real quick. And I'm like, dude, you're building a support crest. Like that's your issue. That's what you got going on. Like you're gonna get. He's like, oh, I didn't know that happened. I'm like, yes. Like. It's like, all right, well, at least we know what the issue was. I was getting ready to like, hey man, send a record it. I was telling him to open a recording, send me the recording so I can give it to the devs. We can figure out what's going on. I don't know what's happening. Maybe it's a bug. And then as soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh, that's what that is. I'm like, that's your issue. So, all right. So let's talk about some of these because we just had a patch, obviously, because we got Kwang in the patch. What are some of these items? These buffs, nerfs, or even hero buffs, nerfs that we're liking or we're disliking.
If someone else, I've got many, so I can start or I can go last. I don't care.
I mean, you can start it off. I don't mind.
Number 1.
Hold on. Piggy Pungu about to try support Kwang right now. Don't do it right now. Wait until after the podcast. Stick around, watch us talk for a little bit more, and then you can do it, okay? But other than that, go ahead and try.
Bro, Megacosm change is, I do think it's a bit of a band-aid fix, but definitely like the correct direction for the item. Like Megacosm might not be a must-buy item for the first time in 13 months of Pred.
Okay, fair. Like he's more targeted towards the elimination of people building HP as opposed to
because
it works on everybody.
The burst damage was just like it against a squishy late game, like against a carry late game. The extra burst damage off Megacosm was like, I mean, it wasn't a lot, but it was like 120 or something damage, 150 damage maybe, which doesn't sound like a lot, but I mean, it's just free damage, right?
That's a lot for
you kill tanks.
For a squishy, that's a lot.
When your health bar is 1600, that's a lot, bro.
Yeah.
It's very targeted towards tanks now, which I do think is, again, I think it's a bit of a band-aid fix. I don't know if that's like, should be the final resting destination of that item, but I do think it was a very good step in the right direction.
I do agree with you. It's a step in the right direction. I just don't understand. I guess, can you explain a little bit better what you mean by band-aid fix? Like, I don't like, why can't it just be the fix?
I think that my issue with it is that it doesn't actually have anything to do with, like, realistically, it doesn't have anything to do with how tanky you are. It just has to do with how much health you have, which, like, in my opinion, it just the way that base stats work in this game are very, very weird, and it just seems a little bit uneven to me, I guess. But I don't know if that made sense to you. I don't know if that was explained at all.
Okay.
But I do think it is a good step in the right direction.
Definitely.
Honestly, bro, I love the fact that instead of like you said, instead of a one size fits all sort of scenario, like it's a must build on everybody, now it's more of a situational item. And the more some of these items become situational items, the more of an identity each item has, the better I think the game is going to get. And I think because like you said, base stats wise, some of these items are still fucking loaded like crazy with base stats, bro.
Yeah. I think
items are nuts. It makes me wonder, like, how they are ever even considering the 6th item slot. Right?
They're definitely
going to
nerf shit
in the December thing.
Yeah, they're definitely going to nerf shit because the reason why, I'm pretty sure, wrong anybody, but I'm pretty sure the reason why it's only 5 items, it's because all these items are so fucking stacked. They're like, bro, why would we want a 6th one?
Well, I think it's the other way around. I think it's when they said, oh, crests are going to count as your 6th item. That means we have to beef up all these items. So if we are only going to be able to buy 5, but it's just like the undertaking of trying to rebalance all those items into a game where you get to buy a whole extra one is crazy to me. Like I do not envy the guy who has to go through and try and fix every single item to make it buyable in 6th items.
Fair. That's almost like a whole item shop rework then.
It is. It would essentially. I think there are, a very small handful of items that wouldn't need changed. But I mean, you're changing almost every item in the game off of that, right?
Or what if they just don't change it, add that 6-item slot, and now you're just fucking clapping the moment that 6-item slot comes on?
I think you could do that for most characters. I think carry is the one role that you cannot let them build 6 items in as items are
just
now.
melt the whole lobby.
Yeah. I think that honestly, I think tanks and bruisers would be fine, but assassins and carries would need changed. Mages, I don't know for sure.
I think what they would do is what they've done in the past. They'll take one little stat and they'll adjust all items that have that stat accordingly, and that'll be one patch, right? So let's say, for instance, attack speed. Hey, we're going to focus, this patch is going to be a focus on attack speed, and then so all of our items that have attack speed, we're going to drop them all down to whatever X% or whatever it might be, and then they'll focus on, and then they'll bring everything down within they need to be and make everything level, and then they'll start adding, and maybe also hey, we're going to bring in 3 other items that are attack speed items. Let's bring the rest of our attack speed down to their level, and we'll match accordingly, and we'll kind of balance as we go. I think that's how they would do it. That's what they've done it in the past. But also with what you were saying, there wouldn't do about kind of giving an item, and it would give the item an identity. It also will help by doing all of that. Will also help by giving you build diversity. Right, you don't have when you were playing mid, you were guaranteed building Megacosm before this change. Right now, you have build diversity, and now it's okay, look, I don't have any tanks that we're going against. There's no reason for me to build Megacosm in the sense of what I would build it before. So let me find another item that I'm going to enjoy maybe more with these squishy people I'm going against, or I'm going against a bunch of tanks. I need to build Megacosm in this situation. So. That's good as well.
A great point too. The economy, either the economy needs to be adjusted to be able to afford a 6-item, or the cost of items has to come down to be able to afford a 6-item. Because what are you only going to get to the 6-item in an hour-long match?
I would
if you're super ahead
the map anyway. I mean, how often, how long does a game have to go for you to excluding games where you have 10+ kills? How often do you get a 6th item or a 5th item in your guys' games?
Bro, most games are done by the 3rd item, second, third.
That's what I'm saying, right?
At your guys' level
on the map, just so I don't know. I want to play my character when it's the strongest.
Quite often, actually, yeah.
Really, you get the full build often?
Yeah. But my matches, my matches are going.
Bearded's in bronze. They don't know how to end games, so they go to Bearded's average match length is probably 50 minutes.
No.
All right. The one thing he said was he said one thing true there. When my matches do usually last about 50 minutes, but I'm not bronze.
That's statistics. Lower ranked players don't know how to end games. Their matches are longer on average.
Nah, to be fair, if you want to get the full build faster, you just got CS better too.
Listen.
There's Pinzo's.
Okay?
Oh no!
In a game where I have 400 CS, I should be max build at 35 minutes. And I had a game today where I was 8-5 on Bellica. I had 400 CS at 38 minutes, and I was not full build.
I wasn't trying to direct this at anyone. I'm just saying that's another consideration. I didn't mean it.
But that was a spicy answer, bro. I heard it.
Actually, if you CS really well, you get full build really fast. I've been there, done that. That's why I offlane. I get to be selfish, focus on my farm. Everyone's at 3 items. I'm showing up with 5 items. Yeah, this is my town now.
I mean, I have improved on my CSing, and that's why I know what I'm saying. Yes, my matches are going longer, but even before my matches get longer, I'm still finishing my items pretty decently. I'm getting to a spot that I'm doing pretty well with my matches. I mean, I don't know. I do agree that something's going to have to, economy's going to change in that sense, because I'm getting to my 5th item, but that doesn't mean I'm going to get to a 6th item all that well. And what's the point of having to have that slot there just to sit there? Hey, well, it was there. I'm telling you, if we kept playing, I would have been even spicier. What's the point of bragging about that? So yeah, Heroes. Anybody got any heroes that they didn't like or they did like with the buffs or the nerfs or whatever may have happened?
I know.
I got one.
I know what Vince
What
wants to talk about.
What about the nerf to Wraith?
The buff to Wraith, perhaps?
Yeah, what about that one?
I haven't tried him yet, actually.
I played him once. He's definitely better. I mean, like the short summary of Wraith is that early game he is less forgiving. You cannot miss snipes. Like you can't, if you miss a snipe or your snipe doesn't kill a minion, it sets you back a lot more mana than it used to. He is a little bit less forgiving. You have to be faster on your combos, but he just gained so much more damage in his kit and more damage uptime in his kit that it's crazy to me that they, and I know if you look at Omega City, that Wraith has like less than a 45% win rate, right? Like his win rate's very, very low. But if you talk to any player in the PCC, they will tell you that they think Wraith is piss broken. I mean, that character is nuts. So it's crazy, like just to me personally, from me, like obviously like a scrims and stuff like that, right? Like seeing Wraith be broken and then seeing them buff him was wild.
Wraith what though was broken? Because I just don't feel like Wraith is a carry. Like I don't see him that good as a carry with one of the matches I'm playing. Like I see him play really well as a mid, but like as a carry, I just like
you can play him as a carry. Otherwise, you have to play him as a mid. If you're into like 2+ tanks, you have to play him in mid and have a real carry.
So what I would say also is it's interesting that they took probably one of the higher skill diff carries, right? And they made him even more of a higher skill diff, but even more of a reward. Because even beforehand, Wraith,
that's
like
exactly
you're building
what they did to him.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're even beforehand, you build Mind Razor, a good Wraith is still gonna pop off in the lobby, right? But now it's like, hey, a good Wraith gets really rewarded for being a good Wraith. And now if you're a bad Wraith, bro, don't pick Wraith again. Like, it feels like they just basically made the skill diff bigger and more rewarding, right?
Yeah. I think they raised his skill ceiling slightly. I mean, not a lot, but that skill ceiling, the power of that skill ceiling is stronger now.
okay.
You think they did that to try and have him be used more? Because I feel like adjusting that skill ceiling even in the slightest is already just going to be like, hey, you know what? 90% of people aren't going to touch this carry because they can't land their shit, you know?
To be completely honest, I have no idea. Like, I would have to legitimately ask whoever's on the balance team, like what the purpose of the change was. Because I like me personally, just looking at the numbers and stuff, I just don't understand it, to be completely honest. I mean, they took a little bit of his burst damage out and then reduced all of his cooldowns. So like he does a tiny bit, I mean, less than 5% less damage per combo now, but he got 2 seconds taken off of his Q and his right click, which is crazy. Like the uptime on the combo is so good, which maybe their point was to like help lower skill players because now you can miss it and you get it up sooner again. But I don't know. I don't know if that's what the point was. Like I'd have to straight up ask somebody.
Well, they, in the description, they literally say he can dominate the battlefield in the right scenario, but the level of execution required to access his power is often too difficult to achieve. And that's what they're addressing with this update.
So they must just be lowering his cooldown so that you can throw him out more and see if you can hit one.
Okay.
But to me, it was
like you said, a good player can abuse that.
It was a massively net buff to me. And they reduced the pen on his E, but I don't know. Joey, do you know off the top of your head, does the passive penetration on his E go over cap?
Over cap?
His physical penetration cap in this game is 30%.
I mean, I would think
at least as far as my testing says.
I mean, I'm not like a race connoisseur.
I don't know about the 30% part.
Okay. So I was just curious if you knew. Because if the pen cap is 30%, then that passive doesn't matter.
Yeah. No, that's a good question. I'm just not a race connoisseur, so I can't
you're good.
say.
I was just curious if you happened to know, your little QA brain. I was curious if it had that info.
Little QA brain.
For some reason. Right
Damn. Throwing that shade back after that CS comment.
That wasn't shade. It's like, yeah.
I've heard that Rampage feels a lot better now. I haven't actually tried him either, but I got a buddy that plays Rampage all the time, but apparently he feels better.
Bugged in what way?
He's not doing as much damage as he's supposed to do.
Okay. So he feels better, but he's not doing damage. Okay.
Incorrect on his E. So when they fix that, I think he'll be good. I played him one game and he felt worse, in my opinion, than he did before.
Yeah.
But if his E truly is, I mean, it's doing like, again, from what I saw, it's doing like half the damage that it's supposed to be doing. So if that
it looks like he's able to cast more.
Yeah, he's a spammy character. What they did is pull power away from his rock and make him more useful when rock is on cooldown, which I think is the correct. Like, again, I agree with that change. Is this enough? Is this going to make him strong? Utility. I don't know. Again, it's hard to say with if his E is bugged and it's not doing the damage that it's supposed to be doing. It's hard to say exactly how he feels because he doesn't feel correct, right? You know.
Yeah. No, he is bugged in the moment, but that'll be fixed on the next patch.
Okay.
Is that getting hot fixed? There's a hot fix tomorrow morning, right?
Server maintenance tomorrow morning. I don't know if there's gonna be a hot fix with it.
Yeah,
I didn't read the post, to be honest. I thought it was a hot fix.
No, it's server maintenance is what tomorrow morning is. I'm not. Nothing has been publicly said about a hot fix is all I'm saying. There could still be a hot fix, but I don't know anything about that. Joey, if you can leak that, go ahead. But if not, I don't know. That's all I'm saying is the post was server maintenance.
Yeah, I don't have final say on that, so I don't want to get you guys help on that.
Okay.
All right.
Coming soon.
All right. One thing that I was able to test with a little bit of playing that I had was I saw they made a change to Stormbreaker with how it works and like with Twin Blast and stuff like that. So I definitely played a little Twin Blast Stormbreaker match. And I think he still feels good with it. Like I don't think I don't know. Again, I'm not the numbers guy. I'm not to know if it's broken or bugged or nothing like that. It still feels good. It's not like it wasn't like there was a lot taken back towards like now I don't even enjoy playing Stormbreaker with him because he's able to proc it pretty decently. So I still enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, Stormbreaker was obviously OP when it was bugged, but I still think Twin Blast, I mean, similar to Sparrow, uses that on hit build very well. Like, obviously, just the way he autos uses that build pretty well. So I still think it'll be good on him, at least like into their correct team comps, right? I just don't think Twin Blast will be the end all be all of carries anymore, which kind of was for about the last month. Yeah, there was a match I had. I went up against a pretty strong offlane Grux, and the jungler was doing pretty well as well. And I'm sitting there and I'm trying, even with Demolisher, I couldn't. Like I'm sitting there trying to do damage to these guys. I'm like, what's going on? So, but I mean, I was able to wave clear really well with my Stormbreaker. I was definitely helping, keep. I was able to continue doing my normal wave clear that I would do with Twin Blast before. So, so I enjoyed that. I mean, it still feels good to be like that. CS it can carry with Twin Blast. So I was happy to see that wasn't going to be like a crazy adjustment. Other than that, any other heroes or items you got there, Pinzo? I don't know. Not off the top of my head, which means probably not. Okay. So I just want to make sure you got all of your stuff talked about. I know you got the Wraith change and the Megacosm change were kind of like the two big ones for me. Okay. So,
bro, when you said you had a list, I thought it was going to be more than two. Well, I like a bare minimum for a list.
It makes definition. It makes definition. We're good.
Remember every single change from the patch, but if I can't remember the change off the top of my head, it wasn't it wasn't bad enough or good enough for me to like care.
Right.
So
right. So you had Windu. You said you had a shout out you wanted to do. There was something you said. There was a shout out. There was something you wanted to shout out. You had on your list. You wanted.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, Predecessor became the indie game of the month, Gfinity, which I'll be honest, I didn't even know that companies are still doing like these little blog posts, like sort of deal for the communities. So it's nice to see, and I read through it and, they give it pretty good details in here. They're like, hey, well, you know what? They're trying to redefine the mobile genre and et cetera. So that's a pretty good read if anybody wants to go look at it. I just love the fact that Predecessor is still getting exposure. I don't know if this has to do anything with the marketing side. I don't know if this is free marketing. Maybe they just took it upon themselves to kind of check it out. Maybe they threw their names in the list and be like, hey, yo, check this out before you choose the indie game of the month, you know? But all in all, I like the fact that Predecessor, at least as of 2024, and let's include December of last year, has been on a very positive note, whether it be exposure on Epic, free for everybody for a week, whether it be going to console on PlayStation, and PlayStation players are loving it right now.
Yeah.
We're going to see at the end of the month what type of news they release about console, because I'm assuming when the beta ends, at some point they'll drop some other information, probably, you know, within a month or so, who knows. But I like the fact that they've been doing constant changes. They've been adding stuff, but they've also been on a very positive note. Like, I don't necessarily think whether it was the December patch, whether it was here the January patch, I don't think that they've gone on the negative with changes that they've made, and that's a very good thing. And that's a major shout out to them, because as long as they say on that net positive side, they're going to continue progressing and continue with that positive feedback from people. So that's exciting to see, bro.
Definitely. That makes me think there was a post, and maybe it was just on Twitter. They posted some stats that they have so far with their closed beta, and I don't remember where it was. So I'm going to try to find that while you guys go ahead and continue talking. But I do remember there was some stats they posted, just a little quick, and which I'm getting to is I'm excited at the end of this. I don't want the closed beta to end, but I'm excited at the end of it to really see all the stats they've accumulated. Like, hey, this is how many hours that were played. This is how many heroes that were killed, type thing. So I'm gonna search for that. I think it's on their Twitter or their X or whatever, and I'll see if I can find it.
Here's the real question: are we gonna get that free skin that we were gonna get for like X number of referrals or whatever? I want that skin.
Oh yeah, what happened with the progress? Did we even make it?
We don't.
I haven't seen an update on it.
First tier, I remember talking about that.
I think we hit the first one, and they said we were like really close to the second one when they gave us the last update. But the third one was like more than double the second one. So I don't know. I mean, that seemed pretty ballsy to me. Of if we were gonna make it, I mean, that seemed like kind of a high bar. But
bro, we were reaching. You remember where we were like, "Hey, man, what about the skin? What about the keys we give out? Can we add those to the list?" Like, it's like, hey, you know, give us a little bit, bro. But all
right, I found it.
You found it?
Yep. So, and this is I want to see more of an update, but this said it was 10 days in. So it says just 10 days you've managed to do all of this. The PlayStation closed beta in numbers, total stats since launch. Most picked heroes, Chimera. Here and again, remember this is just 10 days into it, so these numbers obviously have been astronomical higher. Heroes slain 7,249,002. Fangtooth was killed 694,476 times. Gold earned, oh my gosh, that's thousand million. Is it billion? It's trillion or billion? I think it's billion. 226,432,222,086 gold earned. 2,849,354 towers destroyed, and another billion. 141,850,176,717 total damage dealt, and that's just 10 days into it.
I gotta say, all these numbers, whenever companies release these, to me, I'm like, what the fuck is the point? Like, let's just fill the screen, right? Like the whole hero slain, I can kind of do a little bit of math in my head and be like, okay, so however average my matches are, I do the math there, and I'm like, maybe this many games have been played,
right?
But the only thing I learned is that people love Chimera. The rest of it is like random stats to me, to be honest.
Well, I mean, like, and this is hard. You're literally getting only very a small part of the equation, right? You know, if they would have gave us matches played, we could have figured out how many Fangtooths were killed per match, right? With the stats. If we had matches played plus the stat of how many Fangtooths were killed, then we were like, all right, well, that's how many people. That's the average about Fangtooth that's getting killed in a match. Like, you know, that's a number we could have had, you know, and stuff like that. But that's why I said I'm excited to see these numbers, because I think these numbers are going to look really, really good for what we have going on. Like I've yet to really hear anybody complain about this closed beta. Like there are some complaints about it, but like not like legit, like, hey, fucking thing's trash, get it off my fucking console. I don't want nothing to do with this. I've never heard like people are like, all right, yeah, it's got a bug here and there, but it's like it's the complaints of like, hey, it's closed beta. I understand it's not a full release. You know, this is what's going on. Those are the complaints I'm hearing, but I'm not hearing like raging balls to the wall.
Well, you know what's wild, because I haven't heard too many small complaints, but I definitely have started seeing a lot on Twitter specifically, just random posts about, I just don't like the game. Like, you know, like it's not like, oh, like this is wrong with it, that's wrong with it. Just like those individuals that well, let's call them a minority for now, because I don't know, right?
Yeah. That
literally just come out and they just start yelling, I don't like Predecessor at all. Maybe it's because of the competition. Maybe it's because they just felt like, you know, sharing that day, by all means, which everybody's entitled to. But I definitely noticed that I'm noticing more on the total opposition now than before. But it's either total opposition or the other 99% where are like, yo, I love this. They could change this, but I love this. And that might have to do with the whole console being integrated. Everybody's happy. Like, I'm playing with PlayStation buddies and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's all fun. Like, are they running into bugs? I'll be honest with you, I haven't even asked them. I'm like, yo, I'm just glad you can play. Let's go.
Yeah.
We'll worry about bugs later. You got till the end of the month to play, bro. Play as much as you can, by all means. Report what you can, play as much as you can. If anything's going wrong, we'll get over it. Fucking restart your game. It's a PlayStation. Just close app and reopen it. That's easy as hell.
Yeah.
Shit crashes on PlayStation all the time. We'll be fine.
And for everybody listening, always report your bugs, because it's job security for Joey. All right, we want to keep Joey working. All right, we don't want him to be laid off or anything. So always report your bugs. Yeah, I mean, and I'm just looking here at Ometa.city, right? I know it's a third party, but it's still a good stat here. I go to the dashboard here, and you look in the very top part of the dashboard. It says matches played, and for that longest freaking time there, you know, January, you know, all the way up to this, you know, November here, like it's you're looking at maybe averaging 3,000 matches played, and then all of a sudden we got hit with freaking closed beta. And we're still averaging around, I mean, I'm looking, the smallest number I'm seeing is 13,000 matches played. Like, we've added 10,000 matches.
Skyrocketed.
We added 10,000 matches just by adding closed beta, like the PlayStation closed beta. So that right there, to me, right, this is me as a PC player. Yeah, I understand. And they came on and said that they have to shut down the closed beta because they got to take it off the server and make adjustments that are whatever adjustments needed, and then they can bring it back. But that to me says that they have to bring it back quickly, because when you take that down, losing that 10,000 matches a day that we would have, that's going to hurt the community drastically. So you have to bring that back quickly, in my opinion. And with as smoothly as it's going, I don't see why they wouldn't be able to do that.
So I'll counter you, because we don't know how many of that is PlayStation. You know what I mean? Like, being given for free on Epic is big. I'll bring up the Battlefront idea real quick again. For the fact that Battlefront 2 was a dead game on PC, they released it on Epic for a free weekend, and it went up to 15 million players. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the power of being for free on the Epic Store for a week is strong, bro. Like, I wouldn't be surprised even if we lose the PlayStation
console players.
Side.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if our average daily matches were still double or triple what they were before. I wouldn't be.
I would agree. I would agree with that.
Like, the player base in general is growing, right? And there's going to be peaks, like on Ometa.city, right? We can see they have a peak when there's an influx of players. Obviously, not everybody's going to stay.
Right.
Retention is a big part of that. Tutorials, shit they got to work on, right? So hopefully for bigger pushes down the road, they'll have those implemented to retain. But all in all, I think even if you cut out PlayStation off of the equation, our matches as PC gamers got a lot healthier as is.
Yeah.
And then when PlayStation players get added back, hopefully it'll be at a better stage. More content will be in there. And hopefully they can retain more of those PlayStation players down the road.
Hold on, I gotta ask that so you said your matches have gotten better. Pinzo, have your matches gotten better with the increase of players?
Matchmaking has
Define
not
better.
been at the top of my list of complaints for like I was gonna say at least a month before console came out.
Right.
I don't know if it's the time of day that I play or the MMR bracket that I happen to be in. I don't know. Like, matchmaking really isn't an issue for me. I mean, like, I don't know, maybe 1 in 10 games I would consider unwinnable due to matchmaking. But for the most part, like, I think my matchmaking is pretty good in my games. Me personally, I don't think it's that bad. So I just don't have a lot of personal experience with like, this matchmaking's dog shit, I can't play the game, you know? Like,
Okay.
I don't get a lot of AFKs. I don't get a lot of rage quits. You know, every now and then, obviously, that kind of stuff happens. But no, I think my matchmaking's pretty good. I don't think it's gotten worse since console came out. I don't think it's gotten substantially better. I mean, I haven't really noticed a change.
I should have done this because he's in chat. I kind of directed towards you because I know you're up there as well. So, Crashy, I know you're in chat. I know you're listening. How has your matchmaking been since the change to console? Because I remember we had this conversation before, and Crashy was a firm believer that this wasn't going to affect him. So I wanted to see where it was at. Matches got like 5% better, but they are still very bad in general. Okay. So my statement is true, though. It did get better. I didn't tell you how much better it was going to get. I told you it was going to get better. I'm just saying it got better.
Well, here's the thing on it. Like, they haven't necessarily fixed their matchmaking. It's just the matchmaking got alleviated because of the amount of people, right? But from what I've seen, because now we have a lot of console players using the site like on Meta.city and stuff, I've seen a lot of console players are just in mostly console-filled lobbies. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, especially maybe in like the first week, there were console players everywhere, right?
Yep.
Like the whole thing.
I had a match last night. It was me. I had one console player on my team. I was going against all console players. Match last night. That was me. I had one on my team. It was me and 3 PC players and 1 console player against all console players.
See, I was gonna say I look at the Ometa.city religiously just to kind of peep in there.
Yep.
It's a miracle if I even see a console player in my lobbies. Like, I might see 1 console player here and there. But like, I
don't really get console players in my lobbies.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if it's the ironing out. Maybe the MMR is going into play there. People are starting to kind of find their place on the spectrum, right? As opposed to, hey, we won 5 matches, put me against Joey sort of deal, like day 1, right? But yeah, their MMR system still needs to be worked. They're going to do an overhaul eventually, but adding more players, at least on my side, it definitely feels like the matches are more competitive. Yeah, just kind of like normal, dare I say, for casual queue. Like, obviously nothing compared to like a practice or a scrim or like just like in-house, customs and shit like that. But I think overall,
I love how
better experience.
It's lit. It says console should be locked to play melee, and Purple Swan, who I know plays on controller, just says LMAO. And Purple Swan's one good player, so that's great to see that.
Hey man, I'll throw it out there. The best console player that I've come across is a carry main.
Yeah. I don't think Purple Swan's a console player. I think he just plays on controller. I could be wrong because Purple Swan's controller player. Yeah. So,
my buddy's a controller player that's been playing on PC for a year.
Yep.
And he is now playing it on PlayStation on his controller, right? And he started off at like the bottom of the bottom, and he's in diamond right now, and he's a carry main. So I got to say, like, the best controller player I know is a carry. So I'm gonna throw that out there for sure.
There we go.
Shout out to Meg. Turt said, Mercy's in my games, Appy's in my games, Nerf is in my games. What do you want, Turt? Congratulations, you're doing good.
Yeah.
You're in that
That's the reward,
dude. Time to step up or step down, I guess.
Bro, which is a good point. There does come a specific threshold that once you pass it, there is no chilling out in a game. There is no just a game. It's like, hey man, you better bring your A game or until rank comes out, right? But he's like, after a certain point, it's like, hey, you better bring your A game or you're gonna get fucking stomped by Joey over there in the solo lane.
Yeah.
Like, bye guys.
Stopped by Joey when he's just relaxing because he's done QAing for the day.
Yeah.
He's just like,
Joey's over there with like his what's it called, the hard Mountain Dew, just chilling that he loves. Your whole team is
me on
sweating.
stream, man. I'm sitting here and I'll just be like vibing in solo lane. I'll just be kind of hanging out, and I'll like press tab at the 5-minute mark, and my duo lane is like 0-4, and I'm like, shit, man. Now I gotta play. Now I really I gotta try hard now if we're gonna win this game.
Yep.
No, bro. Once you start seeing a few names, it's like, okay, bro, somebody on my team is more than likely gonna feed. Just make sure that's not you, and make sure that you carry as hard as you fucking can, so it's as close to a 50-50 as possible. That's literally like when you see certain names, it's like, why the fuck? Why is Soul Reaper even on at 6 o'clock? Like, what is this? Like, what's happening right now? Like, I'm gonna need you to go to bed, bro. Like, why are you in my lobby right now? But yeah, but again, back on the MMR conversation, the fact that stuff like that is happening just means that the MMR is flushing itself out. Granted, it's not perfect. You don't have a lobby full of masters, lobby full of diamonds, stuff like that. Granted, people are still figuring their way here and there. But even then, matches are much, much more competitive. Like, even if Joey's over there destroying my solo laner, it's a much more competitive match overall. You get me?
Right.
So I'm not too mad at it.
I had a match the other day that I was playing. Well, it was a couple weeks ago now. I was off lane, and I was playing with our boy Rocky Steele, and I had some people in my chat who were talking to me, and I was going to get the Shinbi. And I started off really well against the Shinbi, but then all of a sudden she just like flipped a switch and it was like lights out for me. So, and the person in chat's like, hey, what you need to do is literally just keep her in lane as much as you can, but don't die to her. Like, you're not worried about winning lane. You're not worried about anything. All you're doing is you're going to keep her in lane so the rest of your team, because like I think Rocky and them were doing well over in the duo lane. So just keep them going there, and you'll do what you got to do. I was like, all right. So that's literally all I did. I literally played if you statistically as an off laner, I played the worst lane, worst game I ever played. But I kept her in lane, and I didn't let her get fed, and I didn't let her go crazy, and we were able to pull, win the game because of how everything else went. But it's like, and it was one of those games. It's like I've never actually played that way, and it was interesting to see that. It's like, man, it's like, when you solo queue, you're going into it, it's like I have to do whatever I can to counter this, and it's like you don't think about just kind of like, nope, just sit back and play passive. You don't think about that. You just think like, all right, how do I turn this around? How do I 1v9 this when she's overpowering me every nonstop? You
just wait for ranked. The people who, especially like, if you're like realistically, if you're probably like a gold player and you're trying to hit plat, being carried is a skill that you have to pick up and know how to do. You have to know when you aren't the win con, and you have to know how to let your team win the game. And you have to figure out like what you have to do to be carried in a game. And that is a skill to pick up in ranked.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting. It was something I like, and I, weirdly enough, it's something like when I play games, like I'm not trying to kill, steal, or anything like that, but I'm trying to do well for me to also make it, to look good. Like when you look back, when you look at the scoreboard, like, all right, that match felt good to me. Like you can see my numbers. Like, oh, I went 10, 5, and 18. Like that's a great fucking match. I had a good time, But like even with this match, like I said, if you look at it statistically, it doesn't look good. But like it felt good. It was something like having
sometimes 0-10 is the slash line you have to win a game. Like that's if you're doing your job, sometimes you die, man. I have games where I'll be playing offlane, especially if I'm playing like Steel, like if I'm playing an initiator, I'll be like maybe 2-0 in lane.
They'll use their whole kit on you, but then it comes easier
25 minutes, and I'm like, okay, my carry is 4-1. Like he's pretty big. I just need to not let him die, and I'll int every team fight from then on out, and I'll end the game, and I'll be like 2-8, but we won, and I did my job, right? Like it's not the slash line is not like that's why I get this question a lot. Like, would you have player performance impact rank in ranked? Like, would you gain more MMR if you were 20-0 versus if you were 1-0? No, you can't, right? Like that, because that would be not fair,
right?
Because
Yeah, because it wouldn't be fair. I agree with that. But then you also have people because of that. They would also everybody wants to play carry. Because that's gonna be the one that's carry or jungler, because that's the ones that are going to be the ones that are going to spike, and you're gonna grow through rank faster. Yeah, you wouldn't want the support players would
KDA in the lobby just because he doesn't die as much. He just has like 20 assists.
Yeah. So, but no, it was something that was weird, and I'm more or less bringing this up because I want other people who are maybe on my level or close to it or just starting out or whatever. It's something that it still felt good. Like it was a match that we played, and we played as a team, and that's what felt good about it. Is like we were sitting there, we're playing, and even though I didn't do statistically as an offlaner, I feel like, man, I should have had more CS, I should have had more of this, I should whatever. My numbers were bad. But like I did what I was supposed to do. Like, hey, this is what they're saying. I'm doing this. I'm gonna hold her. I'm just gonna keep her captive here, and I did that. And the team was able to work around however I was doing things, and we took off. And it was like, holy cow! Like I would never, if you would ask me before that game, if this is how this were to happen, are you gonna feel good about that? I'm gonna tell you no right away. But now after experiencing it, like. It definitely opened my eyes to something to make it a little more interesting, how to play the game, how things are going.
No, like identifying like win conditions and who you're playing through, and again, like how to be a carryable player, right? Like you said, if you're in the off lane, you're in a bad matchup, or maybe you die once early because you're dumb or whatever, like something bad happens, you get ganked, whatever. Not like sprinting it and being 0-10 in lane and having a 10-0 solo lane run the map. Instead, you're 0-1 and you're behind. That's fine, right? Like being carryable is a skill to have, and it will win you games. It will win you more games. Like that is something you have to figure out, and especially when ranked comes out, like it'll obviously kind of matter more in ranked. But being carryable is a skill.
I'd love to ask you guys a question on the rank subject, actually. So. Throw out the window the whole idea of performance-based MMR game, right? But what if you win a game and you're down in kills? Like, let's say enemy team has 30, you're 15, and you just won the game. Should that be a little bonus?
No.
Well, it
would disincentivize comebacks.
Yeah. I mean, it shouldn't be just kills. It should be a lot of different stats to look at, right? Which I'm not sure how other games do it, how deep the kind of whole rank mode goes for like how they calculate MMR gain or loss. But that's definitely like an interesting topic where like, let's say you lost a game, but you fought like really, really hard. Maybe like it's more satisfying
that mean you don't lose as much.
Yeah, like that feels good. Like that gives you a reason to keep fighting, because even if you lose the game, I still went 14-5. I overperformed. I lost like 2 points or whatever, like small number out there. Okay, that loss wasn't as bitter than like a 20-point loss. And just like, dude, I just performed on my brain. Like, why am I losing this much, right?
That would incentivize not leaving or not surrendering in 10 minutes. Be like, this is already a loss. Surrender now. We're gonna lose the same amount of points anyway. Well.
But at the same time, in a MOBA, you cannot have performance based. There is
any sort of performance.
There's no way that you could just flat win loss up with a fair performance based system in a MOBA.
And by the way, that's
possible.
I'm not saying that's what Predecessor is going to do, but that's just an interesting consideration from rank mode, right? Because I don't know like how League does it, Overwatch does it with their calculations, but every game with rank does it differently, right? It just depends on.
Well, and it's different in an FPS. Like Overwatch does have performance based ranking. If you are slaughtering lobbies, you will gain more rank in Overwatch. That is true. But in League, no. In Smite, no. Like I know, League, I'm not positive exactly how it works. In Smite, it's average MMR versus average MMR. If your average MMR is lower than theirs, you'll gain 55. If your average MMR is higher than theirs, you'll gain 45 MMR. It's about that is what you gain. But that's all that it looks at.
Okay. Yeah, I
haven't released rank, bro. I think
when do we get ranked?
So here's the thing. Think of their pacing, right? They're so focused on console right now. I doubt they're gonna release anything while we're in beta. I think just so we have shit to talk about and look forward to, I wouldn't be surprised if they did end console, maybe wait a week or two, whatever next major update is coming by, right? They'll announce rank, knowing the predecessor way, and just for like the next upcoming major update. So that's like another 6 weeks out or something. Rank will come out, then another 6 weeks out. Maybe they're gonna announce something console related. You get what I'm saying? Like they definitely like to space out their news versus implementation.
Well, that's
except Kwang. Kwang got announced. The videos got announced literally like 2-3 days before he was released. So that was a little bit different.
Well, my next question is, how long do you think how long do you think console will be off? Like, how long do you think console will be down? Because I'm assuming that if you were to ask, Omida, they would basically say, hey, we're trying to get console up ASAP, right? Like, I'm guessing they want to do it as fast as they can. But, like, the next big update is 6 weeks from now. And then the next big update after that is the end of the season, 6 weeks after that. So in 12 weeks, it's the end of the season. Again, end of this version of EA or whatever they said. Like this season of EA will be the last season of this format of EA. So I don't know if that means, beta or free to play or still EA, but they're going to do it differently, right? We don't know what that means.
Right.
But
I would be
when we
shocked.
get console, I don't know.
I would be shocked if console comes back before summer.
Really?
Why?
Why would you be shocked?
Because Predecessor is also the company that had a great beta and still took 9 months to give us another test on PC, not even console, right? And Predecessor is the kind of company that they are perfectionists, and I've said it from the beginning. Their need to be as perfect as a AAA company, which is no such thing, is their biggest Achilles heel. I could totally see them being, hey, this went great. We can release this shit tomorrow. And they'll still say, but we're going to wait 6 weeks instead. Because they want to space it out. They want to have a proper schedule laid out and everything. So I would be shocked. And please prove me wrong, Omeda. But I would be shocked if we get it before the summer.
I would be shocked if we didn't get it at in 12 weeks when the end of the season happens. I would be surprised if we didn't get console back then.
Yeah, I think we have to have console back by then. I think
I would, yeah.
I think having
when are we getting console back?
Oh, that question. Oh, I cannot say.
You know.
You can neither confirm nor deny.
Yeah, you can't say. So you know.
He says
know when it's coming back.
Well,
he says, "Oh, that question," and then looks down like he's got like an answer key. Like, all right, what did A say? I can say. Oh, all right. Question. All right, that question. Answer over.
Right now,
it's like
saying, "Don't you dare fucking answer that."
It's like he's like, all right, the question's this. Answer. All right, if I meet in the middle, all right, that's this. All right, don't answer. That's what I got. That's what I got.
Ace is like, don't say a word. Don't think about it. Don't do it.
Yeah, I think they have to have it. Like I think extending the closed beta was a good thing, but I also think it was a double-edged sword in the sense that you get everybody in this routine and habit of playing this game that when you take it away, it's gonna hurt more than if you would have just left it for that little brief time that you had it, take it away, do the stuff that's needed, and then bring it back. Even if you just brought it back as like a, hey, here's another, kind of like what PTO did, right? They did a closed beta, shut it down, and they brought back another closed beta. That I think would have been a better situation because you don't get people in, you don't let them, give them time to get in this routine of playing and just like it's part of their life now. And then you take that part of their life away from them again, and who knows if it's not till summertime, that's going to be hurtful. Like it's got to be the 12 weeks,
worse, bro. If you take something away from somebody for enough period of time, they're going to start to nitpick. They're going to start to notice all the things that were passable because they were enjoying it. And now they're like, hey, I really, really don't like this looking back at it. Just like we can look at Paragon now and be like, hey, there was so much wrong with Paragon. When we were playing Paragon back in the day, it's like there's stuff wrong, but we're still playing it, like we're a little bit more lenient. So it is a double-edged sword, and it's very fucking dangerous to give people too much time.
My guess would be if Window's correct and we aren't getting like full console until some point later in the year or whatever that might be, if it's summer or whatever, I would imagine we get like I guess imagine is maybe the wrong word. I would hope that we get another test before that. Like, get it back in the console players' hands. You know, the next hero in 6 weeks, right? It's an Omida original, right?
See,
let the console players try that.
That
out,
I could see them doing.
You know, for you know, even if it's less, even if obviously I don't think it would be a full 2 months like it is right now, but you know, another 2 weeks or 3 weeks of a test.
This is the way. Right.
Really, that'd be really nice. I think to let them try out the original hero or whatever. You know, I think that'd be really cool. Is that going to happen? Drug, I don't know.
See, if they have a successful test, that's more likely to happen, right? If they get gun ho happy and they have a good test and they're like, bro, why don't we do this again? Why don't we give them 2 months this time? Why don't we say, hey, this time it's an open beta, kind of like Epic Games did with Fortnite, and that next thing you know, it's open beta for a year until they switch it to early access or something, right? Because there's still other stages that they can go to before full release, right?
Well, and speaking of, just in chat, I saw this and it reminded me. I don't know whose chat it was in, but I was in there with, and Ace was in. It was either like Ratty's chat or maybe Reaper's chat, and he was talking about console, and he said the next time that we get access to PlayStation, Xbox should, very asterisk, should be with it. Was his goal. They said Xbox should be playable next time that we get access to console.
Interesting.
Again, big,
With
like low.
No,
should in that sentence,
yeah. Now, with that being said, that makes me feel like Windu is more correct about the summertime then.
Maybe that's true.
Because we saw how, I mean, not for nothing, we know PlayStation was a priority, and we saw things happen. We saw that they had planned schedules based off of different posts that we saw here and there that we've dissected in the past. And we saw that at the end of the day, it's like, hey, we planned for this day, aim for this day, etc. Even if they are optimistic about it, I can see them trying to learn from their mistakes and being cautious and be like, hey, so if they're aiming for PlayStation and Xbox, bro, I say that's another 6 months minimum right there, bro. That could just be me.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Me personally, I would rather them launch it early access, not close early access, but early access on console. Bring it along with PlayStation, with PC, and let that go while they work on Xbox and then have Xbox have its own little closed beta little thing. Make sure everything's working the way it's supposed to. It should be a smoother process with how everything works. Everything already works on console side. Obviously, there's gonna be a little bit on PlayStation side, so there's gonna be a little bit of things that are gonna be different when it goes along with that. So, but it shouldn't take as long because you've already done a lot of the testing with PlayStation. I think that would be the best way to do it, and then you could drop it offline real quick off the closed beta, and then bring it back as for the regular, console, Xbox launch.
Again, I would love to see it back as soon as possible.
100%.
It's no secret that it's been really good for the game. I mean, so many more matches are getting played, right? Like, we have so many more eyes on the game. It's, I don't know. I would love to see it back as soon as possible. But is that feasible? I have no idea. Who knows? Joey probably knows. Joey, you want to share with the class?
I think I'm gonna pass on that for just today.
For just today, we'll bring it back on the next one.
Job, man. It's so much harder to get leaks out of people that are like trying to keep their job,
right?
And not the CEO.
Yep. So, speaking of that, we should probably get in. I have to look at my calendar. We should be getting Ace back here soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think,
because he said he'd come back after the console thing, right?
Well, I mean, I remember I worked out a deal with him that he would come on every quarter, right? We have a quarterly CEO update. So we should be getting close to around that time when we had him on. I'll have to go back and look at my schedule, see when he came on last, and I'll have to work with scheduling him time.
Yeah, give it like 3 weeks so that he can hopefully leak some stuff about the original character.
Right, and you can talk about that claw that they have.
Yeah, the big bug that's coming. That's very obviously the next hero, the ginormous bug.
Yes, that
I
one.
mean, it couldn't be anything else. There's no way. So
Well, it's definitely not a headdress.
I have a question for you guys.
What's up?
Oh no, like based on because you guys didn't get the chance to talk all about the last Death Diary with all the teasers, right?
I think we touched over a little bit with our last. That was our last
I think we talked
podcast.
about it a bit at least.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you guys ever talk about what you guys think about the tease on the casual game mode, saying that there was like 3v3?
Yeah, that one's gonna be. We're.
I think casual game mode, if in my opinion, like I think obviously I think casual game mode is like number one thing that this game realistically probably needs, just because I think especially when you're considering the console crowd, like I think you will get more people to play more games if there is a casual game mode. And I would have loved to see it tested during, like, when they extended the console beta. I thought it was because we were going to get to test that casual mode, which was probably very optimistic from me. Like, that was probably just unrealistic.
Right.
But I think that's sick. I would have loved. I've been saying for me that we need 3v3v3 King of the Hill. I want 3v3v3 King of the Hill. That's the casual game mode Predecessor needs. You know, like League had that 2v2v2v2 game.
Yeah,
yeah,
it was awesome. I want something like that in Pred. It would be so cool. But
that would be interesting for sure.
Again, probably too optimistic. Probably reaching a bit on that, but I think it'd be really cool.
I think that would be really cool as well. I agree with that. We talked about on the show, Joey. I was saying that you could use that with that 3v3 map, or what they're talking about. You could use the practice map. You had to adjust the jungle, how the jungle is set up, or whatever. But you could
the jungle.
Yeah, how you could even that out to be on each side. But you could use that practice map.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be the practice mode map, right? It could be a entirely new map.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying it's already there, is what I'm saying. Like it's already an asset you already have created.
It's a new map. I would too. On the practice mode,
I would too.
Expect it to be a fully new map.
But what I want,
the lighting better on that practice mode map. I'm gonna just throw it out there.
Yeah.
I think it's just because of the way the sun is like setting on the practice map. Yeah, it makes it look really good. I agree, but
because the walls aren't as tall or something.
Yeah.
Well, there's I think it's because part of it is like the lane in the practice map is so high that like there's no real high walls there. It's just kind of foliage, and the lighting looks fantastic on it.
I want them to buy out King's Hunt and bring King's Hunt on as a casual map or casual game mode. Like the way King's Hunt is played.
You're talking about that whole
tower, the domination
defense sort of vibe that they had.
Yeah, I think that would be a great.
The MOBA is interesting for sure, but I don't know. It was okay.
I only know domination from Smite, and that game mode didn't live very long. That's all I know. It wasn't. It was not very.
So imagine Call of Duty domination. How you have A point, B point, and C point.
Yeah.
You can either win by point capture or you win by taking the core. So you have to choose: do you control the objectives or do you just shove it down mid and take the core? So it was literally this whole mix of constantly trying to battle and like very much more active gameplay while it still had core kind of joust vibes to it when it came down to it.
And then
I think a joust style game mode will be real. Again, I think a casual game mode in any capacity, whether it's an arena or an ARAM or a joust or whatever, I think a casual game mode will do wonders for this game.
Well, don't forget they said that the mode that was coming was not seen in any other MOBA.
Well, they said it was 3v3. But they said they did say
but
it was
again,
like nothing you've ever seen before in a MOBA.
The mode is something we're not used to. 3v3 is one thing.
Maybe it's just like deathmatch. Maybe it is like 3v3 King of the Hill and you play like first to three or something like that.
You imagine if we hit 3v3 capture the flag or some bullshit like that?
Capture the flag would be interesting, but I think it'd be hard to implement. But like something like King of the Hill, or like either, no respawns, right? It's round based, so you can either kill them all or cap the point. Like that could actually be pretty sick in a MOBA. I mean, I guess it wouldn't be a MOBA. That wouldn't really be a MOBA. It would be MOBA characters. Elements, but
right.
That'd be pretty sick. Joey, what do you tell us?
Joey must have done something to his glasses because I see zero fucking reflections, bro. I've been trying to look to see what he's looking at.
He doesn't have lenses in those.
He doesn't have lenses.
What do you mean? I I gotta ask Ben, so like, how do you like look at your screen and not get blinded? Because when I did my fun Halloween video, I wore my sunglasses and the monitor was just all rainbow, so I just couldn't see at all and had to look at my second screen.
Oh, it only does that if on these glasses it's in like the way that sunglasses work, like whatever the lenses are, they're directional. So like on this pair of glasses, when I got them, they were the wrong direction. I actually had to physically turn the lenses 90 degrees so that I could look at my screen correctly.
Okay.
If I do this, my screen is black. I can't see anything.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
Huh.
Oh.
That's interesting. Why don't you just turn the screen instead of turning your lenses?
You want them to play.
I gotta run.
All right, bud.
Apparently, I'm needed for a scrim.
All right. So, well, I mean, we could. I mean, we're literally right there at the 7 minutes. We have 7 minutes until 2 hours, anyways. We could just do our little.
I know we were getting close, but I gotta run.
You gotta run. All right, do your outro quick.
Yeah. I mean, again, like I'm Pinzo. If you know me, you know me. I stream at all my socials are at Pinzo. I stream. I make YouTube videos. I do Predcasts. We have fun. Joey's gonna give us some leaks right when I log off as a parting gift. So I appreciate you guys having me. Joey, thanks for coming back, dude. It's always nice to have Joey back.
Yeah,
on the Predcast,
thank you for guys having me. It's actually been awesome talking with you guys and catching up on the good stuff in life.
Yeah, I really like it when we get to have. I mean, now obviously this is a combination of old people that have been on here and Omida people that get to come on here. It's a really good, perfect storm that we get when we get Joey on here. So
hell yeah,
appreciate it. But I do have to. Sorry that I have to part a little bit early. But I will.
All good, man.
Next time we do Predcast.
Sounds good.
Much love, senor.
See ya.
Now that Pinzo's gone.
Yeah, now we can get into it, guys.
Now we can talk, Joey.
Okay.
The loudmouth's gone. We can all talk now.
Dang, yo. I wasn't gonna throw adjectives out there. God damn,
He knows I'm joking.
Yeah, but overall, I know that earlier my point of view, like the whole worst, because again, I might be on the pessimistic side, but this is from somebody that's coming from somebody that has been following Predecessor, Paragon remakes for at this point years.
Yeah.
Right. So it's one of those things where I genuinely, and you guys tell me, am I wrong in this? That I literally am planning for the worst, hoping for the best? Because I feel like a lot of the community, oh my God, they're probably going to give us another test in a week. And then they get upset that it doesn't happen, you know? Where I'm like, yo, if they even give me something before summer, I'll be happy, bro. Like I have to, like being experienced in these Paragon remakes world, knowing the fact that I was there the very first time Predecessor was able to be played by people in March 2019. I'm like, son, if they give me anything by summer, I'll be happy. Like, am I wrong there?
No,
chat. Guys,
I mean, it's good to keep your expectations chat. It's like if we like mislead you guys and you guys get your hopes too high up as a result, then that's on us, right?
Yeah.
So I think we got really better with the communication and all that stuff. So I mean, it's fine to have that viewpoint, right? Because yeah, it's a fair thing to say. Well, it just depends on the person, I would say.
No, you don't. You're not wrong for doing that. It's they set you up for this. Right, how things happened before, you know. So it's on them for you feeling this way and thinking this way. It's a bummer, but it is what it is. I'm a little more optimistic instead of pessimistic in that situation. I don't think it's going to be in that situation, but I also my one of my favorite sayings is don't get your hopes up but never give up hope type thing. Like I'm not getting my hopes up that that we're going to have console before the summertime, but I'm not giving up hope that we will get it before summertime. So, but you're not wrong for feeling that way or thinking that way.
I just feel like whenever I speak in that way, or because I'm easily labeled as pessimistic, or I'm easily labeled like, oh, no faith and shit, and be like, bro, we've been at this grind for a while. Again, like Predecessor's making moves and they've done some great work in the last couple months, and I hope that they continue that pattern by all means. But I literally have a 2-year-old now still waiting for Predecessor. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
I'm fly happens. I'm hopeful, but I would encourage people to be like, hey, don't get your hopes up, because again, it's not like they're not necessarily giving us any timeline.
Nope.
But I feel like people read between the lines and immediately jump to conclusions and then let themselves down. Super easy. So I do wish Predecessor would announce a little bit more of timelines just to set a realistic expectation.
Right.
To some extent, not like any even hard dates or anything like that. But yeah, I don't know. That's just where I'm at.
Yeah.
So how's that? So like the dev diary sort of give that. It's not like it doesn't give you specific days, but it gives you like a rough timeline. They want to hit this stuff early 2024. Like that's how they phrase it in the dev diary. Like, do you want something that's a little bit more concrete than that? Like the next step after that? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, I mean, before Windu answers that, the thing is with that is like that the statement of early 2024. It can be that's a what's the word I'm looking for? A subjective statement. What's the word? It's very you could take that as
read into it and take it different ways.
Yeah.
Like early 2024 for Bearded might be the first half. For me, I'm like, no, there's an early, there's a middle, and then there's an end.
Right.
So for me, it's in the first third.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So, but technically, all right. You can bookend the year, right? The first day of the year and the last day of the year, and everything else is the middle. That could be early, that could be late, that could be middle, right? Or you could like, all right, the middle, the very 1 month in the middle, that's middle, and then everything else is early and everything else is late, right? Or whatever. Like you could literally, as long as you have a beginning, a middle, and an end, depending on how you want, whatever size you want to make it. You want to make them equal sizes, you want to make them different sizes. Anything can be subjective with that. It's like, what is technically early in Omeda's eyes?
They did that with PlayStation because they were like, yo, PlayStation 2024. And it was like, hey, right at the end, right?
2023.
But
2023.
2023. Right. My bad. They were like, yo, PlayStation 2023. And then right at the end of December, they still met it. It's like, hey, we did say 2023. We didn't tell you when.
Right.
But for the entire time, it's like, nah, bro. They said 2023. I'm thinking it's going to be summer. I'm thinking it's going to be September. I'm thinking and we saw ourselves, especially doing Predcast throughout the years, we saw ourselves that a lot of people end up disappointing themselves with their own false expectations.
Yep.
And I'm a strong believer in people are always going to hope for the best on average, unless they've been through it, right? And it's one of those things where if they're hoping for the best and they get let down, I understand it's a cop-out. One of those, well, we never told y'all anything. You let yourselves down. But that's where I would say, take like the parent approach or the parent accountability. It's like, hey, I never told you I was going to get you the toy, but I told you I was going to get you that toy eventually. So now your hopes are up. And the moment you don't get that toy, now you feel let down by the parent, even though the parent never committed to anything concrete in a certain time frame. So you got to be mindful that when you say things like that, the longer you hold out, the longer people are going to be like, damn, bro, am I ever even getting this shit?
Right.
I mean, is it ever going to come? So that's what I'm saying. A little bit more accountability on the Omeda side, as far as some guidelines, or not guidelines, a harder date without being a definite date would be better. And and Joey, you know me, for years I've been like, yo, just give me a day. Yeah. Give me a day. Like they did a great job of saying, it's like, hey, so we're aiming for November, but if it ends up being December, so be it. I love that. You don't give me a concrete date. You let me know, hey, if shit goes wrong, it could be later, but this is what we're aiming for. I love that. But giving me something like 2024, or be like, hey, we're hoping at some point in the first half we'll get it done. That's a little too broad for me.
Yep. Yeah, and so when you're saying, like, when they said early 2024, is that Q1 or is that like the beginning of Q2? What one can be early? Is early Q2 still early 2024? You know, where does that fall? And that's the questions we have, and it's like that's where it's like whoever reads that as Q1, they have a good chance of being disappointed, because when it comes out in Q2 and it's not the middle of the year yet, that's still early 2024. by the definition of what early 2024 is, right? So it's like, that's where it's like, if you don't set that up that way, and this is something that Predecessor's always been good at, though, in the sense of wording things in a way to get the community hyped. They did the same thing. I go all the way back to when they came out and said when Predecessor comes out, when Predecessor's playable, it'll be cross-plat. And everybody's, oh my gosh, it's gonna be released on PlayStation right away. And it's like, no, you don't understand that. And we had this conversation when we were doing the Fault partner panel, because everybody playing Fault was like, oh, yep, Fault's dying, Pred's gonna be out on console right away. And it's like, that's not what that means. Cross-plat means Steam and Epic. That's your two platforms. Epic's a platform, Steam's a platform. But they didn't tell you that that's what the platforms that were going to be. They just told you it was going to be cross-plat, and they left it to interpretation, and they let the community think that it was going to be a lot, and they got the community all this hyped about PlayStation right away. They word things perfectly to make the community get hyped in that situation, and in the long run, it can bite them in the ass.
Fires.
Exactly.
It's smart because again, they let everything just kind of roam free and be like, hey, opinion A, maybe. Opinion B, maybe. They never shut anything down. But at the same time, even the worst opinions are thriving in some corner because they're not giving any information in certain areas. So again, I'm hopeful. I'm definitely one of those like, hey, if we get something before summer, and we get like my birthday's in June, bro. If we get something before my birthday, I'm chilling, bro. I'm happy. Legit. If we only get characters,
his birthday is December 31st, everybody.
No, I meant that. No. If we, but again, given past updates and stuff, I wouldn't be surprised if the next couple of updates are focused around item rework, or hey, you know what? We're adding this last item before the sixth item before we go to console again, and we want to test that out. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they add this new hero, and unfortunately, PlayStation isn't there to play. Or maybe they do a weekend so the PlayStation players get to play, but then they shut it back down and they're like, hey, now we're going to work on tutorials and shit. And we want tutorials to be ready before we go to PlayStation again. Like, who knows what approach that they're going to take?
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that
someone knows.
Regardless, it's
one of us three knows.
Well, Joe, one of us three. Purple one of us three knows. But yeah, I'm just hoping that regardless of the changes or how long it takes, I'm hoping that they keep this good, steady progression that they're doing. Because I don't think they've done, based off of last patch and this patch, I think they're overall good patches, regardless if there's highs and lows, right? I would just want them to continue in that steady, hey, progressing towards a good direction at the end of the day.
Joelster says PCCX has a date. It's something to look forward to. I just reached out. I asked what the date was. I'm interested to see what that is, because that'd be cool for everybody that's liking the gaming, the competitive scene. Definitely let's crack into it.
I'm actually going to look that up.
A meta rework, like adding a sixth item, would be a year-long setback with 100%.
I want to talk about any questions that the chat might have for Joey specifically. Again, homie is a amazing community member. His videos are top notch. People love him. But then he also joined the dev team at one point and left us here in the Predcast. Sad face. But he is always welcome back, as we know. What are the chances of this game dying out? I think that's a general question too. Because again, like for a game to die, bro, there literally has to be 0 players. Technically, if a game still has 1,000 players playing, it still has a community. But it's not popular, you know?
Right.
So as far as that,
I think the chances are still there.
Predecessor has to royally mess up so that they can fumble what they got right now.
I think there's a big enough community here. Hence why we're looking at 13,000 matches daily played. You know, I think there's a big enough community here that this game will be able to thrive and do what it needs to do, as long as the devs don't, like you said, royally mess up. But I also think that something could happen whatever internally with the devs, like, I don't know, Smokey and Ace could just have a falling out, and what's going to happen there? Then there's like a division of the company or whatever. I don't know. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying something like that could happen. Then you're like, now it's like, all right, well, now what do we do? All right, well, then there's a complete change, and then there's with that change, well, now the vision of the game changes. Well, the vision of the game changes. Well, now all of a sudden that pisses half the community off. Then we have the whole Paragon thing happening again. And it's like, well, that's not what we're gonna want. So it's a tough one for sure. Joey, do you have a Smurf account?
Do I have a Smurf account? I mean, so there's a little funny story behind it. Like, obviously I've been playing since season 1 of Early Access, right? And eventually you get to the point where if you climb like the top of the ELA bracket, you start to sit in queues for 10-15 minutes. And that's kind of like really hard if I'm trying to just have some casual fun or try to record views. I'm spending like 30 minutes, even an hour maybe sometimes every day, just waiting in queue for a game pop, right?
Okay.
So like I did, like, it's a long time ago, I created another account with the same exact name just on the Epic Game Store, and I treat that as a second account that's backup. My main account is taking 20 minutes to find a game. I hop on that. Sometimes it helps me find a game faster, and I get to the same lobby of players I would find otherwise.
Okay. The next question is, are you Chef Yours Truly, or is that a guy trolling?
No, that's like a account under my name, yeah.
Okay.
Because it's a reference to the Halloween video I made. Well,
right.
I made. Yeah, so like,
yep.
I made it obvious that like that's kind of my account. I hope so.
Question.
You'd be surprised. I had a match that there were 2 Nuglets in there, bro. Like like the fact that some other people can copy names. Like, I can literally go on my let's say like on my Steam, change my account to JoeYoursTruly, queue up, and we'll both be in the same match with the same name.
Yeah, like Steam is really easy because you just change your profile name, right? So,
yep.
Yeah.
I'm about to say Epic lets you too, even though it's a little bit more complicated to go to the whole
but there's a cooldown on this. You have to wait a couple of weeks before you can change it again.
So Turdog asked me, how does it feel to be out of silver? It feels fucking great. The thing is, like, it feels great, but I also to me it's more of a visual thing for me now. Instead, I've been saying for a while that I'm out of silver. Like, I play in a gold, like a gold player, right? That's the way I've always said that I played, and it just if you looked at how things were going with Omega, Omega.City, I wasn't there. But they did a how would you explain that again? They did an adjustment to how their MMR is calculated, and now I am in gold. So it feels great to finally, it's actually the first game that I've ever actually ranked out of higher than silver. So it's great. I think there was Joelster said he's gonna get back to me, but he funny enough, you joked about it being December. It actually is in December. He doesn't have the date, but he said he'll get back to me. So we'll maybe have that to be announced on the next Predcast if we can get that date.
I think we just confirmed the December part, because as far as I'm concerned, that wasn't public. We just got that out of him, bro. I just shared a link in there where the last PCC, it just says Championship Invitational. It doesn't say a date. That's the only one that doesn't say a date.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure we just got a
slight announcement. There we go. Gold Players Unite. You got it, Lacron. When do you have a Predcast only playlist?
Yes, there is a Predcast only playlist. We actually used to upload the Predcast on podcast form, on like audio formats, YouTube Music, Spotify, and stuff like that. That's something that we stopped doing just because it was a little bit extra effort for very, very, very minimal views and retention and stuff. I think we were getting maybe like less than 10 listens, so to speak. And the YouTube was popping off, so we just stopped doing that. That might be something that we consider down the road. But yeah, we do have a specific playlist with all the episodes.
Yeah, once we get that firm handshake with Ace and us being we'll start being the predecessor community corner like Paragon had, and we can become the official Paragon Predcast or predecessor Predcast. Yeah, we'll start doing stuff like that. We'll get that going. So we just got to get that going with Ace, and Joey will. Yeah, there we go. Well, it'll happen when it gets to that point. We'll be there, guys, and that's when we know we officially made it. So, who this chat asked for a Wraith buff. Not me, little kitty, not me at all. Team is gonna be so mad. Forget what was I can't scroll up. We didn't give a month yet. We don't know what you're talking about, Joester. So okay. Yeah, I think that's pretty much about it though. Question wise, I think we're good. We went over our 2-hour mark. We still got to upload this so we can get it ready for YouTube tomorrow, hopefully by noon, as long as everything goes right with YouTube. So, on that note, we got to find
outros here.
Yep. While you're doing that,
I'm
gonna find somebody.
Let's go ahead and do our outros. Joey, if you could go ahead and do your outro, let people know where they can find you, what you're up to, anything spicy coming up as far as your videos and stuff like that. And we'll also end it with a tidbit, kind of like a little from you to the community. Because usually we do from us to the community or the devs, but you are the dev. So at this point, it's just from you to the community as just little words of advice. Go for it.
What's the advice? Oh, okay. Yeah, so let's do the outros. Yeah, so just JoeYoursTruly on YouTube. For those who don't know, I do daily educational, fun kind of content views, showcasing different builds, whether it be that the really kind of competitive builds, but also the really fun, questionable builds that could still be really fun to take for a spin, and just overall just have a good time on the YouTube. You guys can also find me on Twitter, where I occasionally post updates about what's going on live, or just whenever I'm doing live streams or kind of updates, or of course, if you're Dark Horse enjoyers, you find plentiful of that over on my Twitter page. And I'm also at this analysis on the PCC. So for those who want to see JoeYoursTruly on the desk breaking down like some of the top competitive matches, I'll also be there on their Twitch site as well. But other than that, that's just kind of all the different places you can find me at.
All right. Jolster asked in chat real quick, Joey, you says support Kwang when? You got a video. You said you got one coming out?
It's Friday.
I saw the clip.
Friday? All right.
I definitely saw the clip leading up to it, bro.
Yep.
Yeah, it's coming Friday.
There you go. There you go, Jolster. You'll be able to see the video on Friday. All right. As for myself, real quick, I know I said it early in the beginning, and it means a lot to me. So a little PSA for people who don't know anything about diabetes. My son was just diagnosed this week with type 1 diabetes, and something that you can catch that early is you notice that somebody's drinking a lot more. Normally it's like a water or lemonade or whatever. They drink a lot more than what they normally do, and then they start using the restroom a lot more. If it's more frequent drinking, more frequent restroom breaks, that can be something in early onset with type 1 diabetes. So if you see that, start asking questions and possibly take them to the hospital and get their blood sugars checked to see where they're at, and catch early. If you catch earlier, it's a lot better situation than getting them going to something that what they would know as DKA, and which is not a good thing. That'll be a hospital stay, and then you got to get your insulin and your blood sugars under control and figure that out. But just something you want to catch early. We luckily caught it with my son early because we noticed that we already knew the symptoms because my daughter is already a type 1 diabetic as well. So that is something we need to, you people need to understand if you have that situation. It's a good thing to know. Other than that, for me, you can catch me live Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Wednesdays are normally saved for Predcast, but with the content dropping a little slower with Omega, we will dial them back. We're not doing weekly shows, but we will do them more frequently when they come out with patches and updates and stuff like that. So just stay tuned to our socials. You got Windu on Twitter, you got me on Twitter. We will post when we're going to be going live and stuff like that. So follow us all there. T_B Wolverine. T_B_ Wolverine is mine. So check us out there. But other than that, thanks all hanging out. We had a couple subs tonight. I appreciate that. That all is very helpful. So greatly appreciate that. And Windu.
Spicy. As far as my side, I've just been gaming, bro. Like I've honestly been gaming Predecessor a lot without even streaming. So I definitely got to get back on that, but I have been posting videos much more frequently, trying to get back in the gist of that. Shout out to Joey for a little conversation that we had behind the scenes. If you know, you know. But yeah, just overall going to be posting more on YouTube. Be on the lookout for that. And if you guys are watching this after the fact on YouTube, because we do upload these on YouTube the following day at noon, just consider subscribing. Consider leaving a like. Consider leaving a comment, just interaction, so the algorithm can kind of pick up and share it with other people, as long as you as well can share it. And if you've made it this far, regardless of where you're watching, whether it be on the Twitch chat or whether it be on a YouTube comment, just leave a GG so we know that you made it this far and you watched the entire thing. But much love, guys. Thank you so much for the tuning in to the first podcast of the year. Many more to come. We've already been going at it for a good minute, and we will catch you all on the next episode. What's up, homies?
Peace.
Peace.